In the wake of Donald Trump's recent victory, obviously Trump supporters are laughing, joking, celebrating, having fun, laughing at liberals, crying on the internet. And I honestly just want to say what no one else is willing to say. That being that Trump supporters are retarded. They're retards. Unbelievably stupid people now control the reins of this country. Genuinely. People who literally are too stupid to vote are able to vote. It's a conversation we need to have. I saw Bernie Sanders get up on stage and waste oxygen talking about how the Democratic Party isn't speaking better to the working class. Somehow or another, no, it's worse than that. What did he say? The Democrats have forgotten about the working man, We've forgotten about the working class. We forgot about them. He literally says, we forgot about the working class. Let's just tell the unbridled truth, okay? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris didn't forget about the working class. It's just Americans are stupid. When people sit there and vote for tariffs to make the economy better in the United States, you're not dealing with Biden and Kamala not caring about the working man. You're dealing with the working man not having a working brain. That's what you're dealing with, actually. But let's start from the top, right? And of course, Trump supporters, if they see a video like this, what's their initial response? This is why we don't like liberals. This is why we don't like Democrats, because they condescend to us. The same people who spent 8 years calling you a snowflake, calling you gay, calling you a snowflake, calling you gay, calling you the F slur, calling you soft, emotional, telling you facts over feelings. If you break down to conservatives why they're wrong about everything, then all of a sudden their feelings are hurt and you're condescending to them. Kind of like how Joe Biden called them, he didn't really call them garbage, but technically he did, technically calls them garbage, and they were offended after saying Joe Biden for 4 years, but it's whatever. Let's start from the top. So first, Trump supporters whine and complain about the border. What would Kamala ever do for the border? Kamala Harris wanted to sign off on the bipartisan border bill. The same bipartisan border bill that Donald Trump shot down. What I've come to realize is that most Trump supporters don't even know anything about that, because Trump supporters know the least about Donald Trump out of everybody. Okay, here's the ranking of what the people who know the most about Trump. You've got God himself, you've got the federal government, Trump's detractors, Trump's supporters, and then himself. He seems to be the least familiar with his own behavior. He denies everything he's ever done. So I'll rank Trump supporters seem to know a little bit more about him than he himself does. Donald Trump blocks a border bill that would have handled the asylum problem, the same asylum problem, by the way, that's causing a massive influx of asylum seekers in New York City. In many other blue cities, right? People are complaining about these asylum seekers coming in, and I agree. We need a better system to process this. We need a better system to stop people from taking advantage of America's asylum seeking system. I'm there with you. I'm not a Democrat who wants a soft border. However, the border bill literally promised to bring 1,500 new customs and border protection personnel by increasing the amount of Border Patrol staff. They literally promised to add 4,300 asylum officers to make the asylum process faster and fairer, increasing detention beds for ICE from 40,000 to 50,000, increasing the amount of immigration judges to process these claims faster, combating drug trafficking by funding the installation of 100 cutting-edge inspection machines to help detect fentanyl at our southwest border points of entry, and $1.4 billion for cities and states who are providing critical services to newcomers and would expedite work permits for those who are in the country who qualify for work. In spite of all of these beneficial things, the bill, in fact, what's even crazier is they also offered to shut down the border if a certain amount of immigrants came in. If enough people crossed the border, if 5,000 crossed the border over a small period of time, the president could shut down the border. Despite Biden literally saying, guys, you know what? I will literally give you one of the most conservative border bills ever. Me and my party will swallow the bitter pill. We'll do what needs to be done. You know who ruined that? Donald Trump. Do Trump supporters care about the fact that Donald Trump used the border as an election piece? He used it as a tool. He literally derailed American legislation and American national security to help himself win. Do Trump supporters care? No. They don't care. Kind of like how he used those families of those Marines and soldiers who died in Afghanistan against Biden by hosting a non-DOD designated event at Arlington National Cemetery, taking campaign photos, you know what I'm saying? Campaign photos near people's tombstones. And then when the people at Arlington National Cemetery said, hey, you're not supposed to do that, apparently someone in his campaign assaulted someone who works at the cemetery, leading to the United States Army condemning Trump's event there. He's managed to convince all of his supporters it was a Department of Defense ceremony, organized for those who died in Afghanistan, and Biden and Kamala just didn't show up. He's really good at this. He's really good at framing things in falsehood, in fiction, and presenting it to his supporters like it's reality. It works over and over and over again. What's the other thing you people were complaining about? You were complaining about the economy. I mean, look, you guys know that I have interviewed Trump supporters in person recently. These people want their prices to go down, which they're probably not, okay? They're probably not going to go down. And Donald Trump's plan is only going to exacerbate them. Wages have gone up to meet prices. Donald Trump wants to enact tariffs that would make it even more expensive to buy the goods you need. The electronics you want, the food you want, everything you want will be more expensive if the goods and materials and resources we import from China and other countries have tariffs put on them. Now, Trump supporters are under the unbelievably ridiculous presumption that tariffs tax the country because Uncle Sam now has jurisdiction to tax the Chinese. Didn't know that was true, but apparently he does. Trump supporters are under the impression that Trump will send tax collectors all around the world and make the world pay. That's what we're dealing with right now. Trump supporters don't even know what tariffs do. They want Donald Trump to put tariffs on goods from China, despite the fact that the Chinese goods they buy are cheap and reliable, and American alternatives would be unbelievably expensive. Despite the fact that America is a service-based economy and not a manufacturing economy, and it would take decades to go to a manufacturing economy, which still just wouldn't be beneficial for the country at all. Despite all of these facts, Donald Trump supporters could not care less. You are being held hostage by a voting base that does not understand anything. Oh, by the way, those of you who didn't vote, those of you Democrats who sat out this election, you're all literally bitch made. You can suck multiple. Trump supporters suck, but you guys, Trump basically got the same votes as last time. For some reason, Democrats seem to be under the impression that they didn't need to come out and vote. Honest to God, I can't take liberals seriously anymore. Y'all don't want it badly enough. These people will take everything from you. Abortion. They'll take democracy from you. A functioning economy from you. Rule of law from you. A non-corrupt Supreme Court from you. And you sit there twiddling your thumbs as MAGA sits there brazenly, proudly, and energetically trying to find new freedoms to take from you in the name of freedom. And what do? Sit there and Twitter. You got Bernie Sanders, someone who's a gazillion years old, who could barely hang on to his seat, talking about how Biden and Kamala failed to work for the working class. Y'all are still coping about where Democrats went wrong with the campaign. The reason why we lost is because we suck at messaging. Okay? We suck at slogans, at branding, at lying. If you have to make shit up about Trump, feel free. For those of you who don't want to play dirty, you got one of two options. You can just leave the U.S., okay? Or you can fight to keep the U.S. a democratic republic, a non-shithole, because that's effectively what Trump and his people are going to do. But let's talk a little bit more about the economy. Despite the fact that Trump supporters whine and bitch and moan about the trade deficit, very little of them know that American goods are very, very expensive to buy in the international market. We tend to buy more than we sell in terms of trade because the goods we buy from China are pretty cheap and reliable. On top of that, the American dollar is incredibly dominant. With the exchange rate of the US dollar, the US dollar being incredibly strong, foreign products are incredibly cheap for Americans to buy, okay? And it makes US exports a lot more expensive for other people to buy. The reality is Trump supporters don't actually want the trade deficit to flip because they don't know what they're actually asking for. They actually enjoy the trade deficit. They want their items cheaper, they just don't know how to get there. Trump gets up on stage and says, I'll enact 20 to 50% tariffs on everything, universal. And everybody sits there and says, yeah, make China pay. These people can only think in terms of make the yellow people pay. Make those other people I don't like pay. Please and thank you. Literally beyond that, they know nothing. They know absolutely nothing at all. Like the majority of the cheap goods we buy, okay? The majority of the cheap goods we buy contribute to the trade deficit. When you buy these electronic goods, when you buy these manufactured, whether it's clothing, whatever, when you buy these things that are made in China or these other countries, they're cheap. You've been whining and complaining about inflation despite the fact that it dropped under Joe Biden. He did an unbelievably amazing job with the Inflation Reduction Act. And what does he get in exchange from Democratic voters? Low turnout. What do Kamala and Joe Biden get in exchange for what they've done? Low turnout from a bunch of suckers who don't actually want freedom, who don't actually want to protect their rights. You just like getting stepped on by MAGA. And what does MAGA do? In response to Joe Biden putting in all that effort, voting for Trump because 4 years ago everything was better. Because somehow Joe Biden summoned COVID. He did a ritual and COVID came up from the ground. This country, it's infested with retardation. It's infested with retardation. I can't do this for much longer. I can't with y'all. I just can't. Like, the only solace I can take in this is that you Trump voters who are doing your little dance, you won't be dancing for long. I give it like 10 years before y'all walk away from this talking about, I don't know, man, like Trump might not be that. But actually, let me not even say that. You guys 12 years from now will blame Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Because I can guarantee you this, Trump's not leaving office once this next term is up. He's not leaving. So when 8 years pass of Trump fucking everything up, when 10 years, 12 years pass, I'm genuinely curious as to what the excuse will be. There will be an excuse. There will be no concessions. Conservatives, MAGA will never say, oh, we were wrong about never. They will never do this. I'm curious to see who they're going to blame. George Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, maybe even Abraham Lincoln. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know. We're not there yet. I don't want to I don't want to be like, you guys are going to blame Abraham, but they were really going to blame Obama. Like, I don't want to force things on them. But they will not be taking accountability. Okay, like make accountability gone again is more so the thing. More so that's basically that's the movement. Okay, let's get to the last thing. These people. Well, actually, the second to last thing. Peace through strength. We're gonna have peace through strength. I already see people talking about how Donald Trump's he's so strong. He's gonna be unbelievably strong. Everyone's gonna be afraid of him. Everyone's gonna be. The reality is this: Donald Trump is only going to exacerbate the war in Gaza. Not gonna lie, I did find out that the people in Dearborn, Michigan, apparently just sat out the election, and the ones who voted for Trump ended up pulling through for Trump. That's hilarious. Yeah, Trump's he's gonna bring about the end of Gaza. I'm pretty sure if he stays in for more than 8 years, Gaza's finished. So just going ahead and wrap that one up. As it pertains to the war in Ukraine, Donald Trump for the last 3 years has promised a 24-hour solution to the war. Because Donald Trump loves life. He loves people. He loves their lives. He wants people to stop dying. Just stop dying. He wants the dying to stop. Donald Trump, despite knowing this 24-hour secret, refuses to share it with Joe Biden. I'm just saying. Defense secretaries hate him. Donald Trump's secret to world peace. Donald Trump sits there and pretends to be sitting on this solution. He doesn't have a solution. He sits there and pretends to be sitting on this divine revelation, won't share it with Joe Biden or Zelensky, as people are dying, losing their country, being genocided because 15, like not 15, thousands, tens of thousands, tens of thousands of Ukrainian children kidnapped by Russia. And Donald Trump refuses to share his plan. The reason why Donald Trump never verbally stated his plan is because Donald Trump's plan was to make Ukraine give up more land. Now, of course, Trump supporters think that they're real politicking. We're real politicking. You want Ukraine to give up their land in exchange for no security guarantees. You don't want them to join NATO because a bunch of you retards actually believed RFK when he told you that the United States promised NATO we would never expand. Despite the fact that Russia signed the NATO Founding Act saying that they respected NATO's right to welcome new members. But don't let that stop RFK and Tulsi Gabbard from spreading not even misinformation, bullshit to Americans, compelling them to demand an unbelievably impossible peace plan from Donald Trump, as if keeping Ukraine out of NATO won't make this war start all over again. I'm curious as to what Tucker Carlson, Russell Brand, RFK, and the rest, I wonder what their excuse will be then. America and the West concedes to these lunatics again, and when they invade again, I'm so curious as to what the excuse is going to be. Democrats, please prepare to just we have to win the propaganda war. These people aren't serious actors. Once all of their plans blow up in their face, they will blame us. I guarantee you they will blame us. We need to start blaming them before anything happens. Just say the world will explode in 100 years because of Trump. It might happen. Even if it doesn't, just throw anything against the wall. Just anything you can think of. The truth no longer matters. Now, obviously, in this video, we've showcased reality, information. Oh, that reminds me. Apparently, there were talks of Tulsi Gabbard being the defense secretary for Donald Trump. Tulsi Gabbard is an idiot. Tulsi Gabbard has, I don't know who opened up her brain and took all the cells out of it, but she's cooked. She's cooked. There's something weird about her. She's always bitching about the military-industrial complex. She's never been able to prove once that the military-industrial complex has started a single war, and apparently America's interest in Ukraine has nothing to do with weakening one of our long-term geopolitical enemies, nothing to do with securing our own national security, nothing to do with securing the national security of our allies. It has everything to do with the MIC making more money. Never mind the fact that the military-industrial complex is what keeps us safe. We need bombs, we need ships, we need jets, we need rifles. By the way, the military-industrial complex is not just weapons you can't pronounce and, acronyms and all that bullshit. It's also rifles, handguns, bullets. Since when did conservatives hate those? It's really funny how you guys hate all the companies who make the big dog weapons. For some reason, you hate the weapons that actually make us powerful. You don't blame the enemies of our country who have invaded or threatened to invade our allies. You blame the hardworking Americans who engineer and manufacture weapons to keep you safe. Thanks to Tulsi Gabbard, Russell Brand, and all this cacophony of morons who promise peace through strength but constantly parrot propaganda to make you hate the people who make the weapons that keep you safe. Donald Trump wants to bring about an isolationist world in which America turns away from the conflicts and, spats of the international community. The last time we did that, we got caught up in World War II. Maybe the economy collapsing, our national security, maybe America reverting back to a regional power is what will make Democrats concerned enough to outvote these people. I've given up on MAGA ever listening to reason. They don't care. They don't care about America being the strongest. They don't care about us being the most prosperous. They don't care about keeping RFK possibly being in charge of people's health is an actual reality now. What is going on? What is actually happening right now? That could happen because Democrats thought they could sit this one out. Elon Musk, he gets on. This man got on stage going like this. Grown-ass man, by the way. That guy could possibly be in charge of our economy. He's already threatening to crash the shit to make a better world because he's worried about someone who can't even take care of his kids is worried about a better world for you and me. Sure. Peace through strength. What? Donald Trump's unpredictability? The idea that Donald Trump projects strength geopolitically is laughable. Our most threatening geopolitical adversary, Russia, is about to receive a gift wrapped in McDonald's grease by Trump. Um, it's over for Gaza. Yeah, now that Trump has won, it's over. That's not even a factor anymore. And I don't even know. Maybe he'll be tough on China. Trump actually does want to drag us into a war with Iran. So all of you conservatives bitching and whining and moaning about endless wars, Trump's actually going to start this one. As much shit as Trump and Vance talk about sticking it to Iran and teaching them a lesson, that one they'll actually start. At least Joe Biden isn't literally on camera or by tweet or by interview talking about antagonizing Russia or antagonizing Gaza. He never did that. Never, ever, 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 ever. Trump is consistently shown. This is the same guy who literally threatened Ukrainian aid in exchange for dirt on Joe Biden. And you think that Putin fears Trump? Get out of here. Like, what are we talking about? Trump is a... I mean, I'm not even going to say that word, because y'all finna get mad at me. Whatever. Look, the reality is, this is not a serious country. I'm living in a GTA server right now because progressives don't take their rights seriously enough. Republicans are moralless, if that's even a word, and progressives have no balls. They have no spine. They're just pussies. Liberals are pussies, literally, in every conceivable way. How in the fuck do we lose the female vote and these people are talking about getting rid of all abortion rights? Some of them are talking about getting rid of the right of women to vote. Like, we might actually have to go back to Jim Crow and women not having the right to vote for y'all to wake up. I saw Latinos voted for Trump heavily as well. They're actually trying to figure out how to denaturalize a lot of Latinos now. So everyone's about to eat shit. Blacks, white women, Latinos, every minority community that voted for this guy, y'all are about to find out. Let's get to the final part of this video. The establishment doesn't care about us. That's why we voted for Trump. Fuck the establishment. Fuck the establishment. It's like, this is like some hood shit. I can't be around y'all. This is like being in the hood, shooting all over the place, fighting all, robbing, stealing everywhere. And and if you try to leave and move somewhere else, niggas get mad at you. This establishment doesn't care about us trend in MAGA. It just goes to show you all are playthings, okay? Conservative MAGA, you are like, I wish I had a chess piece. Y'all are like pawns. That's what you are. You just get moved on the board by conservatives. You are not even like, you're just automatons. You're NPCs. If I talk to you, if I press talk on the button, you just repeat stuff. What do you need? Hey, hi. That's y'all. Y'all are not actual people. Republicans consistently vote against aid for their own districts and sometimes states. And you guys continuously vote for them. When a storm hit Texas, Ted Cruz was on his way to Cancun with his daughters, and AOC flew down to Texas to help you people. Ted Cruz is back in the Senate again. Republicans are not serious people. These are third worlders living amongst us. These are people who cannot keep a functioning society. These are people who admire ignorance, buffoonery, and destruction. How in the fuck could you complain about the establishment not caring about you, and then an establishment Democrat flies down to your state because your MAGA meat muncher decided to go to Cancun? As much as y'all bitch about Mexicans and brown people and et cetera, it's really interesting Ted Cruz thought to go to Cancun as his white brethren, his American because you know, these MAGAites, they just can't wait to get rid of the blacks and browns. His white brethren are suffering in a snowstorm, and a Puerto Rican has to fly from New York to help solve the problem. And y'all voted for that. Y'all voted for that individual person, and he's back in office. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Byron Donalds, Mike Johnson, Lauren Boebert. These people have a long track record of voting against legislation during times of emergency. As Donald Trump sat there and lied about Joe Biden's lack of effort to solve the whole hurricane problem going on, what were House Republicans doing? They were voting against aid for their own districts and states. Do you know who's constantly saved your asses? Democrats and establishment Republicans. But you don't care because this isn't about facts, it's about vibes. I'm glad that conservatives, okay, you guys haven't admitted it yet. But like at this point, I don't really need you to say it. It's clear that y'all don't actually care about what's happening, just how you feel about what's happening. Well, I feel like the establishment doesn't care about me, so I'm gonna vote for the politicians who literally couldn't give a fuck about me. The ones who get stuff passed, like the Inflation Reduction Act, who get the infrastructure bill passed, all of these things. It doesn't matter if Democrats tangibly take care of me and try to pass tax credits and get all this stuff. It doesn't matter if they actually take care of me. Republicans have convinced me they will. Even though they don't, and the information is accessible on Google, I'm going to just like cocoon up and just decide that reality shouldn't matter. These are the people you're trapped in a country. Those of you who've actually voted. Those of you who actually voted, you're trapped in a country with these people. The establishment doesn't care about us. That's why Donald Trump's going to enact tariffs that make all your goods more expensive, right? That's why Donald Trump's going to deport all the illegals who, you know, help process your food and who build all these homes and all this stuff, all of this manual labor that you don't do and you won't do, that they do to keep the economy functioning. Once they're all gone and everything gets more expensive, you're going to blame Joe Biden somehow. Joe Biden could be dead and you'll still blame Joe Biden. That's what we're dealing with right now. This is the equivalent of someone like pushing you and you're like, hey man, stop, and they just do it again, and you're like, bro, what are you doing? And they just shove you again, but they're like non-verbal, they're not talking, they just keep attacking you, and no matter what you say, they just don't stop. That's MAGA. Bro, tariffs don't work. They just look at you. Concessions to Putin don't work. They just look at you. Theocracy's retarded. They just look at you. They just look at you. They don't have a response. They just they're programmed. Like they're literally just like they're bots. Okay, they're bots. And to be honest, I'm sick and tired of hearing people complain about Kamala Harris not doing enough to drum up the working class. The working class has made it abundantly clear. Either you convince us you're taking care of us, or we're voting you out. It doesn't matter what bills you get passed. We don't care about bills. We don't care about actual tangible things you do. Take care of the fee-fees first. In fact, bro, it doesn't even matter what you actually do. Just tell us you're doing something good, and what you actually got done doesn't matter. Donald Trump has proven that competence does not matter. It would take the utmost amount of destruction for Trump voters to maybe, and that's a real maybe say, maybe that wasn't a good idea. Until then, we're stuck with this. We are stuck. Okay? I stand by this completely. Trump voters will not be laughing for long. And they're retarded. And for the liberals, stop using that word. Shut up. You couldn't even fight for democracy, abortion rights. Like, when you can actually get a big enough spine to like fight against actual like autocrats, theocratic, ethno-fascists, and all that bullshit, when you figure that one out, then we can talk about the R word. But until then, I'm bursting out even more slurs because y'all is like, there's no other, we're losing the information war. We're losing the propaganda war. We're losing all of the media war. And there's still conservatives talking about we haven't reached out to we haven't done enough for the working class, forgetting all about all the bills Biden passed. You still don't get it yet. You still don't realize the vibes. What did Kanye say when he went on that crazy ass rant against DJ Khaled and Jay-Z and Drake? The vibes is back. The vibes is back. That's what Ye said. The vibes is back. It's vibes. Democrats are still sitting there trying to explain policy to the American voter. See, so how tariffs work is y'all are still trying to explain how stuff works to people. Hilarious. If you get rid of the affordable, well, don't you understand the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare? No. Like, no. You're trying to like break stuff down and inform them about how the government works. And don't you understand there's 3 branches of government and stop. You're wasting your time. I'm sorry. Like, those of you who want to like sit there and break down how the government works to Trump supporters, stop. Okay. Again, Trump supporters are literally just pieces on a board. It's like talking to NPCs. The sooner you accept it, the sooner we can get over this. The reality is, trying to reach out to Trump voters is a waste of time for now. What we need to be doing is spreading propaganda. We need to be memeing. We need to be making fun of them. In the next 2 to 3 years, being a Trump supporter should be something people laugh at. Like, you voted for Trump, it should be something people are embarrassed to talk about. Not because of moral shame. That doesn't work anymore. Women not having bodily autonomy, minorities becoming increasingly threatened, anti-Semitism on the rise, Islamophobia making a return. None of that matters. Stop. Okay, just stop caring about the goodwill of your fellow Americans and start memeing. And I'm not being funny. Y'all need to start making, like, call them whatever. I'm gonna start calling for Elon Musk to be sent back to Africa. Use their own phrases and terms against them. I'm not past doing anything, frankly. Like, this is just full on, like, this is literally just like total. If y'all aren't ready to like literally do what they do, we're done. We're done. What we've learned today is that everything Joe Biden did was meaningless. All those bills he passed, all that stuff he did to take care of the American people, pointless. Democrats weren't grateful because we literally had lower turnout than last, and Trump voters couldn't care less about what Biden got done because Trump has convinced them that tariffs are for their own good, as they sit there and dance to YMCA because it's the only song that people actually allow them to play. We're fucked. We're fucked. In cue all the Democrats in my comment section. This is disrespectful. This is why this is so condescending. And then the Trump supporters complaining about the condescension. I don't care. At this point, we might actually, the smartest thing Marjorie might have ever said in her 40-something years of living, which I don't know why God even allowed that to take place, but the smartest thing she might have said is that we might need a national divorce. I can't live next to these hoodlums, bro. I can't live next to MAGA. I can't. I'm just sorry. Like, racism, sexism, these things, these horrible isms, we can, like, you can be, like, I can argue you out of those things. When I demonstrably show you tariffs don't like lower prices and you say, nuh-uh, we're done. I can't live next to you. I can't. Like, when you're against the military industrial complex, like the actual building of weapons that keep us safe, when you're against supporting our allies and like actually trying to like take out our geopolitical enemies, like when you're against economic basic sense, rule of law, the idea that a president shouldn't be above the law, like when you're against we're done. We're literally, I can't, bro, I'm done. This video's over. I'm done.